With more than 20 years experience as an AI and IT developer, Professor Dr. Sasa Arsovki has received a PhD from the Department of Applied Computer Science and Informatics, Faculty of Technical Science, University of Novi Sad, Serbia. Since 2004, he has been working as an independent associate for the development of ICT in the Guaranteed Fund of AP Vojvodina. He is a member or chief editor of multiple boards including Information Science Institute USA, Multimodal Technologies and Interaction MTI International Journal, and many more. Professor Sasa Arsovki is a highly recognized AI researcher in the field of computer vision in the industrial quality control, object detection, image understanding, and genetic algorithm in text processing for neural network chatbots. TETC. Together, let's welcome Professor Dr. Sasa Arsovki. Dr. Edward is a seasoned academic and industry professional with over 27 years of combined experience in the field of education and research. She holds both Master's and PhD in Educational Technology, in addition to a Honours, Bachelor in Chemistry and a Master's in Organic Chemistry. Dr. Edwards has a proven track record in education research leadership, and she has authored several articles that have been published in high-impact journals and books. Her research interest revolves around the potentials of AI, blockchain, immersive media, and other emerging technologies in transforming future school. Dr. Edwards is passionate about and has extensive experience in fostering industry academia and interdisciplinary academic and research collaborations. She is currently a senior lecturer and industry coordinator at the Center for Instructional Technology and Multimedia, University of Science, Malaysia. She also serves as senior consultant at Global Trends Academy, TETC. Together, let's welcome Dr. Bosede Iyeade Edwards. Thaddaeus is a technology advisory, assurance and implementation professional, offering services in Nigeria, West Africa, East Africa, UK and US. His consulting practices cuts across over 60% of the publicly traded financial institutions in Nigeria, oil and gas, education, multinational, state and national governments. Notable of his products are being used in government, faith-based institutions, retail and service companies. Thaddaeus is passionate on using technology ethically to solve global real-life issues. Thaddaeus is a serial entrepreneur and tech value chain investor. TETC. Together, let's welcome Thaddaeus Akingbile. Mr. Edwin Lowe is a serial entrepreneur and marketer with 25 years experience in a wide variety of industries like AI, food and beverage, fashion, advertising, e-commerce, education and logistics. He is currently the CEO and founder of the Express Train, a venture builder, Koto Association, an AI-driven platform for upskilling and job placement, and Imagine AI, a solutions provider for automation, AI vision, and robotics. He believes in an active lifestyle and is passionate about sports, travel, and films. He is deeply involved with the local tech ecosystem in Johor and would like to contribute to promoting Malaysia wherever and whenever possible. TETC. Let us together welcome Mr. Edwin Lowe.
So our discussion today will be bordering around the topic AI in higher education, pushing the boundaries of distant learning and tutoring. And so the format we will take today, this session is going to last for 1 hour, 30 minutes. And every speaker will have the opportunity to respond to questions that I will be fielding. If you also have questions, you can put your question in the chat groups, and then we'll take your questions accordingly. So the first section of this talk show or panel would give each of the speakers, starting from Dr. Bosede, 3 minutes to just share what your take is on AI in education, especially in higher education. what are the things that you feel, and what are your professional intake or take on the use and the role of AI in higher education? And Dr. Bosede, you will have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you. And good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, good morning. I don't know, depending on where you are. So I've been introduced. My name is Bosede Edwards, and I'm thrilled to be part of this exciting discussion on empowering educators with AI. I was here yesterday, and I think at least in the morning session, I was on the morning session yesterday, and I'll say it's been so far very inspiring sessions, very good learning opportunities, and I'm really excited to be part of this ongoing discussion. I would say it wouldn't be an overstatement to say that what we are discussing, is one of the hottest topics in the world at this time. And I'm very happy that I'm part of this dialogue at this time. And the discussion is actually something that is directly in line with my work as a researcher. I'll say I've spent all my life in the classroom. I was born by teacher parents, so of course I started going to school before I even know what school was about. And so far since then, I've remained in the classroom, both as a learner and as a teacher. The past 5 decades, I think, has given me the opportunity of seeing tremendous changes in education. I've seen, things graduate from blackboards, real blackboards, not metaphorically, real blackboards, to what we are discussing today, AI in education. I believe that students can blossom a lot when they have access to resources and support that matches, their unique learning styles and paces. So I believe that if AI is used thoughtfully, it has the potential to revolutionize learning on a scale that right now we can't even begin to imagine. AI is currently changing learning, but I believe we're just starting. This is just like the tip of the iceberg. I believe it will do much more. But more importantly, I believe it will totally change the concept of school as we know it. Like I mentioned at the beginning, my research is focused on AI in education and the concept of future school. So I believe AI will change teacher roles. It will change the way we do assessments. It will change how we do credentialing. I also believe that as teachers, we bring a human touch, it's a spark of inspiration into the classroom. We have the ability to nurture a love of learning that is hard to replicate by AI at the moment. I like to put that because if what is going on in the past 10 years or so is something to go by, I believe we are still going to see some very serious changes in the nearest future. So AI is a powerful ally, is a tool to empower us, as we have seen yesterday and as we're going to see today. And I strongly believe that right now, what educational institutions should be focusing on will be more like teacher training for the future school. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Dr. Bosede. Without much ado, we'll go to Professor Sasa. The floor is yours. Okay, but before Professor Sasa starts, I'm delighted to also announce that Edwin Lowe is here. I'll bring him on, and then we can continue the conversation. All right, thank you, Edwin. You can unmute yourself, but so Dr. Sasha, you can go ahead and give us your take on what AI is in education.
Okay. Good morning or good afternoon to depend where you are. I'm Professor Dr. Sasha Arsovki. I'm Dean of the Faculty for AI and Robotics at Raffles University in Malaysia. And what is my view of AI? I'm doing the research related to AI, especially related to AI in education, actively in the last few years. And I think I'm agreed with Dr. Bosede that it will bring the huge changes in the education. But I can see further than that. I think it will change completely education, and we will not have education how we are having now. This kind of education will not exist anymore. with AI-powered tools for the online learning, or with another technologies, not only just AI powering tools, but another technologies. I will later in my speech and through the panel point of the newest technologies that can change not only education, it will change the world. If we are talking about the AI, I think it will be great changes, and yes, it is opening, and I think that will be something that will change the world, not only the education. And all of us, as especially educators, need to be aware that definitely they will be replaced in some aspects of their work. No talk about it. This is a 100% sure. Educators will be replaced in some aspects of their work.
All right, thank you, Dr.
Some aspects will still be done by the humans, but we will in detail talk about it later.
All right, Dr. Sasha, thank you for your contribution. I think we'll move over to Mr. Thaddaeus. If you can give us your 3 minutes presentation on what your take is on AI in education, especially in higher education.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I really want to appreciate everyone that has been doing this great job since yesterday. It's been an awesome time. I invited quite a number of people, and I've been getting a lot of feedback for what they experienced yesterday. I must confess that this is a good initiative, and we should keep this up. It's a movement that must not stop. If this is the contribution that we have to the world, then we know the world will be a better place productively. And when talking about AI for me, as a practitioner, as a businessman, as a serial entrepreneur, is an accelerator. We talk about bottom line all the time. Productivity, ability, what we used to do in 1 month, we are able to put our minds together and we can finish from beginning to the end in just 4 hours. Is a productivity tool, is an accelerator. We become better with artificial intelligence, modeling into all areas of our life, from customer service to contract packaging to proposal writing, and to even in education for our learnings, our office LMS, learning management system, which eventually goes into performance appraisal and productivity. It's been a wonderful tool that has come into our life. And again, I was going to say that AI for Africa, for example, for those of us who are familiar with the framework of education, the government system of education in Nigeria is 6334. The 6334 is a model that is predicated on one to many, where you have one teacher teaching a lot of students. And what that has resulted into is that you have very little of those students coming out as A-star students, where you have a lot of students who don't amount to anything. Invariably, you result in a partially literate community. So you don't have a fully literate community because there is no personalization of teaching. But with AI now, we begin to see that teaching personalization, individualization, and understanding the learning pattern of students can now be achieved with AI. We tried this some years ago, where we brought great teachers to speak with many students, because in Africa, you really don't get the best of teachers at every point in time. You have some great teachers who is able to galvanize a few number of students who eventually go ahead to become professors, geniuses, and all that. So what AI can help us to do, when we have star teachers, for example, AI becomes a star teacher that has now, with the ability, the generative ability, the adaptability ability, the accelerative ability, and the teaching ability, you can now personalize for every student, but there is a snag when it comes to Africa. The ability for this technology to penetrate the nook and cranny of our country. The ability for these students to have enough devices to practice, to be able to be accustomed to using this technology. So when we are able to bridge when we are able to bridge the deficiencies, the lack of access to technology, the devices, and bridge it with the availability of the available technology in terms of artificial intelligence, we will have a better country, a better place where we can do virtual training, virtual learning, virtual understanding, and the country bottom line, there will be more productivity individually and at the end but to the government. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll move over to Edwin before we go to the next segment. Edwin, you have 3 minutes to just tell us your take on AI in education, especially in higher education. You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good afternoon or good evening or good morning, depending on where you are. Love these style conferences where people come from all over the world, converging it at one spot here, right? Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes.
My connection is a little bit weak. Yeah. Well, the thing is, a really interesting question. AI is not new. It's been around for some time, but it's just that in the recent few years, there's been such rapid developments and rapid changes in AI and the technology and the applications of the technology that has caused a massive disruption in all walks of life, right? In entire societies and definitely in education. And the disruption is really in the how, the what, the when, the why, and the where, right? For example, AI is disrupting how like what Dr. Sasa mentioned, how education is being delivered is obviously disrupting what the content of the education as well. For example, of course, the why, right? As in the purpose of the education. For example, the head of marketing of OpenAI, obviously the company behind ChatGPT, Mr. Zach Cass, he did mention once that this AI and this technology will usher in a period of unprecedented productivity growth, and it will be so useful that humans will have so much free time. People will have so much free time, they wouldn't know what to do with their time. All right. And if that's the case, and a lot of the manual tasks will be automated away, then what are the jobs that are left for our young graduates to do? And that's the purpose of education, right? Is to train and upskill the young generation to ensure that they are able to get gainful employment or to increase their employability. All right. And if AI is changing so fast and changing the nature of work so fast, perhaps education is not matching up as fast in this case, right? The second thing, of course, is the way that conventional education is structured. Most schools, for example, if an individual graduates from university today, this individual probably would have studied for 3 or 4 years at the university, and whatever syllabus or whatever that has been learning would actually have been written. The syllabus would have been written 3, 4, or 5 years ago. All right, and in today's world, 2 months is an eternity in AI, right? Every 2 months there's something new in the market, and so what is happening is that our young students and the young generation are actually studying things that are already obsolete by the time they come into the workforce, right? So I think AI is a real great disruptor of education, and obviously it presents great opportunities for our young students as well.
All right.
Right. Thanks, Rotimi.
Yeah, thank you everyone for such wonderful contribution on the role and the impact that AI is really taking in education and redefining how we learn and how we teach. We'll move a little quickly into personalized learning. I've had a few of us mention something around being able to leverage AI to do personalized learning. I'll start with you, Dr. Bosede. What can you say in terms of personalization? How can AI tailor education content to individual need, especially in higher education? It's a different ball game in K-12 schools, but we're talking about higher education. Is there really any need for personalization in higher education?
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, Mr. Edwin. You're welcome to the discussion. So in terms of tailoring educational content to individual student needs, I think right now we have access to a huge amount of student data at our disposal at every level of education, and more so at higher education. Several years of learning and assessment data within universities and colleges are things that we can leverage. And every year we turn out millions of students across the world, and another set of millions go in, one set goes out. So, and we have student data at higher education level. We have them from elementary school, because when you are applying for admission, everything is captured. So we have data from elementary school, high school, through your admission, through all your years of stay in the college or university. This data can be analyzed by AI to identify strengths and weaknesses, learning styles and preferences. And we can use this to curate personalized learning paths for individual students. We can, like yesterday, there were a number of tools that are being used in K-12 for targeted practice exercises and recommended resources and all that. So I believe this, because within higher education, we also have these types of tools that are specifically designed for application within higher education. One of the biggest challenges we've had with differentiated instruction before now is the skill, the time, and the resources for addressing individual student learner needs. It's just too much demand on the 24 hours that every teacher has. But fortunately, in today's higher education classroom, with the help of AI, we can, at the click of a button, we can create anything that we need for different types of learners in our classrooms. We have several examples of AI tools that support adaptive learning in higher education. Some of us might be familiar with some of them. Newton, Smart Sparrow, Coursera, we have Cogbook, Realize It. Alex is for assessment and it's assessment and learning in knowledge spaces. So some of these tools are being used by certain some institutions. Maybe our institutions are not yet logging into that. Maybe people are still skeptical, but these are all useful tools that are supporting personalized learning for students. Coursera is one MOOCs platform that we're all very familiar with. Coursera has an AI system now that recommends courses, tailor learning pathways, and provide personalized feedback to students. It's adaptive learning technology adapts the content to individual learner needs and preferences. So it's currently widely used in several higher education by several higher education students for online courses, degree programs that cross several range of subjects. So there are several others like that. That's just one aspect, because within the higher education, we have the learning part, then we have the research part. So there is also the several tools that are being used for research that are tailored to support research. But then the question is, maybe we'll get to that later, based on personal experience, students are not really doing much better than before these tools came. And why is that? I think we are dealing with another set of serious problems that are coming with the emergence of these tools.
Yeah, we'll get to that along the way. Thank you so much. Dr. Sasha, to just follow up on what Dr. Bosede said, I think the question I'll pose to you is, what are the challenges in implementing personalized learning at scale? How do you scale personalized learning, and what are the challenges that you think that can be faced in scaling personalized learning, especially in higher institutions?
Okay, yes, I agree with Dr. Bosede, and yes, definitely one direction is to perform the data analysis if we have available all data about the student. But more important, if we want to have a personalized learning, adaptive teaching and learning, we need to enable somehow to AI to have a conversation with the students. We need to have give the AI possibility to talk with the student to estimate his background knowledge, to create a lesson for him, especially for him, by estimating his background knowledge, and by the choosing what kind of assessment will be personalized for specific students. So not only the type of the teaching and type of the lesson. If we want to reach the total personalized the teaching and learning, we need to also personalize the assessment for each of the students. Yes, it can be accomplished by using any of the AI platforms that are on the market, where AI can see, hear, talk, understand, analyze student answers and student collaboration with the AI, in fact, conversation with the AI. So in that case, we can increase the personal approach and personalization between the AI in the process of the teaching and process of the learning. Of course, we need to have, I think, again, I wanted to repeat, we need to enable communication between the AI and the students. This is the way how we will achieve, together, of course, with the analysis of models, data science, in fact, or data models that we have already, if we have. But the personal touch means conversation with the student.
All right, thank you so much. Edwin, I would put this follow-up question to you. My question will be, how do we ensure that AI-driven personalization does not reinforce existing biases? You know, there are a lot of bias in the industry, ethical biases, traditional biases, some of our preferences. Oh, Edwin is not on the call. Okay, so I'll pass that question to you, Mr. Thaddaeus. How do we ensure that when we achieve personalization using AI, it is not reinforcing biases? I think one of the challenges of AI is, as with every manufacturer, or as with anybody that creates a product, whether it's natural or whether it's deliberate or indeliberate, you factor in your biases into your creation. So, and we can see that in the beginning, when the ChatGPT, Gemini, all of them, when they first came out with their Gen AI, there were a lot of issues around biases and all of that. So how do we ensure that all of this AI don't reinforce individual biases as we leverage that for personalized learning?
Fantastic. Thank you for this particular question. See, it is known, how do governments, nations, how do they become sovereign and are able to maintain the balance of life and security and all that? There must be frameworks. We must ensure that everybody is galvanized under frameworks such that we are able to ensure that those who develop this model fall within the framework. That is number one. Then this framework must be audited by standards. It must be the traditional approach to solving problem cannot go. We cannot do away with it. It is to bring the knowledge of how we have stabilized security, how we have stabilized payments, how we have stabilized banking into AI. And also to say that those who bear the rule should not play catch up. They should begin to sit on top of what is happening globally, meaning intergovernment collaboration, interinstitutional collaboration, interagency collaboration, to come up with standards, that these standards shall be followed in every development. Of course, there will be outliers, but the system, the framework must be able to track must be able to identify where we have those who are not aligning with how these algorithms should be developed. So this is one of the areas that these biases can be reduced or almost eliminated near zero. If we all abide by framework and standard and auditability of all that is done in line with standard, biases will be significantly reduced. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Edwin, if you want to follow up on that, how do we minimize or ensure that AI-driven personalization does not enforce or reinforce biases?
All right. My apologies, it's a little bit noisy here, but yeah, one of the advantage of answering the questions last is most of the time my other panelists, esteemed panelists, have already given most of the answers, right? But yeah, I agree with what Thaddeus is saying, that the framework and the ethics and the standards have to be in place, and governments are obviously governments and obviously the stakeholders. Can you hear?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, so I was saying that I agree with Thaddeus that the ethics as well as the standards and the framework have to be in place, and these are actually done by the stakeholders, right? Having said that, obviously right now it is all about big money, which companies are able to spend the billions of dollars in train. Yes, you're smiling, right? So yeah, so. If the boys that are the big companies that are spending the money are the ones that are controlling this large language models and these platforms, and inherently because these companies are predominantly Western companies now, there's a lot of bias in those models, right? So for example, like what Rotimi is saying, if you in the early stages of ChatGPT, if you give a prompt to say, okay, a successful middle-aged individual in a high-flying career, inevitably is always white and blonde, blue eyes, right? So there's no Asian or there's no black successful people.
Yeah.
Right? That's ridiculous, right? So, but I think what different countries are realizing now is that they need to invest in it as well. So the different countries in even the less developed countries and the Asian countries, obviously countries like China, but the Southeast Asian countries are now investing in both the infrastructure as well as the software. They're investing in the supercomputers so that then they will be able to invest in the building of these large language models as well. And coming down the line, we'll see different countries will also be building their own models and their own platforms. Now, this does not necessarily eliminate all the biasness, because they can, each country will also have their own biasness, right? So, but at least what we will have then, we will have more choices. So like a company like ours, Imagine AI, we're actually hardware agnostic. We are software agnostic. We're not what do you call that, tied to any particular platform or large language model, and therefore we are able to integrate and we're able to choose the best performing models, the most equitable models, and we are able to integrate accordingly. All right, so that's the question on biasness, but I would like to maybe switch it around and also talk a little bit about the issue of inequity. I know it's not exactly bias, but from I think what you were talking earlier, Rotimi, was the supply side of the technology provider point of view. But from the demand point of view, the technology consumers or technology consumption, there is a lot of inequity as well. And it was a study, I think, was done by McKinsey, which actually showed that obviously those that are affluent are able to afford access to this new technology and access to this education. For example, I think it was intended to organize the global AI competition among the schools, and invariably the top participants and the top winners are always from the either private schools or the international schools, or the international colleges, for the reason that they have more money, they have more infrastructure, they have more access to technology, right? And therefore they have more what call it they have a foot in the game as a step ahead of everybody else. So that's irony where this technology, this AI, is supposed to be an enabler, and it's supposed to be a leveler, right? Where everyone, whether you're rich or poor, regardless of your ability and capability, you are able to have access to this technology. But unfortunately, data is telling otherwise, and there have been some research where the technology is really benefiting those that are affluent and educated, and those that are marginalized are falling behind.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that contribution. I just wanted to, as we round off this section about biases, I also wanted to point out and get your feel on, I think, how do we handle, because so one of the sessions yesterday, a lecturer actually asked a question that he teaches Yoruba, and he has also realized that there are little or no resources that these AIs can generate and provide for him in his research and in his teaching, which is quite true, because I've also engaged in a conversation around that area. So for developing world, Africa, Asia, how do we ensure, or how do we go about it such that we are also we have access to data that are sourced from such locality? Because whatever you do now, most of the data that is being used to train these large models are not data that are domiciled in some of these countries. So the cultural components to data and to these results are lost in the middle of it, because the source of training isn't localized. Dr. Bosede, do you want to speak to that that situation?
Okay, thank you very much. I think one of the things that I appreciate a lot about Malaysia and a few other countries in Asia is the fact that as early as they can, they try to do their own thing instead of living on what is provided from elsewhere. So, and I think that's something that we have to do. That's something that Africa and other developing nations have to do. No one will be more concerned about your situation than you. So for those nations, I think right now we see growth in this field. We see what nations are doing. I believe national systems also have to respond to that in developing nations, because if we don't do it, I mean, you cannot expect another nation to get your data and help you with this. So you have to, I think systems have to respond to doing this in-house at national, maybe at institutional level too. We can start from institutional levels, we can start at regional levels, and then there could be corporations, corporations across regions or across countries within the African region, for example. And this can help us to also arrive at where we want to go. Maybe people like Mr. Thaddaeus, who are probably based at home, would also be able to find a way around such things at local level.
Before we move on to the next session, can Dr. Sasha, do you have anything to say around the areas of localized content and data for large language models?
I think so that especially countries and institutions are able and have enough money to train the large language models, publish language models, enable their usage of those language models localized. I think with the AI, we're supposed to go to the global understanding and global data. Currently, yes, the biggest large language models, they are trained for all available data on the internet, even it's a localized. If we check the localization, of course, Rutgers University produced the platform, My Teaching Assistant, which is in fact able to provide the lessons in any language. So language is not a problem currently now. So we can provide a multilingual education, and from another side, if we want to democratize education, that's Mr. Edwin was talking before, no, I think with the AI, everyone will be able to get a proper education. Raffles University and our platform, My AI Teaching Assistant, launched the words, let AI teach you AI. And Raffles University will launch in October Bachelor of Data Science program. Of course, this program will have accreditations, so it's a fully legal program, bachelor, and students from all over the world can get a bachelor diploma, but complete course will be designed, delivered, and student work will be assessed by the AI without any involvement of humans during the course delivery. Of course, to build the proper course, we need to help AI. Human needs to collaborate in this stage. AI don't know how to create a course. All the approaches that we was talking before, oh, we will use the AI, we will create a PowerPoint presentation, and we will use this to teach the students. This is the wrong approach. Because AI don't have a pedagogical aspects and points.
All right, thank you.
Teachers or professors' experience is something that we need to give to AI in order to get the proper course or proper lesson.
All right. I think you've cued us into the next segment that I would like to also talk about, and that's AI-powered tutoring systems. So my first question is, what's the advantage of AI tutors over traditional tutoring method? And let's start with Edwin. What do you think is AI tutors' advantage over traditional tutoring methods?
All right. I think in the earlier questions about personalized teaching, both Professor Bosede and Professor Sasa and also Thaddaeus did mention that the technology is at the disposal, like, for example, AI tutors can be imbued with adaptive learning technologies. They are able to analyze perhaps the students' answers, and they have a set of rubrics to be able to guide the students along, right? So I would say that the AI robot, AI teaching assistants, would be really useful in guiding students and personalizing the content for students. However, what I feel is that for AI and shouldn't be working on its own independently, right? AI should be used in all practical sense together with humans, or should be the other way around, whereby humans are the one using AI. And I would say that the real benefit from the utilization of AI is actually the human teachers, right? The actual physical human teachers would actually have more time to be spending quality time with the students. So I would say that perhaps like what Professor Sasa was saying, the way that education is going to be delivered, the way education has to be retaught, right? That is, instead of teaching and lecturing done in schools, all of this can be done by a AI teaching assistant. And what happens is that the limited classroom time, the teacher has so little time to be spending with so many students, but that little classroom time, right, where the teacher will then have more time engaging each student in terms of, for example, application, creative endeavor, the project work and coursework, right? So you have more quality time with the students actually physically, right? So I think that's it should be used as a complementary systems, not as one is better than the other, or one replaces the other, but it can be used hand in hand, complementing each other, right? Yeah.
All right, Dr. Bosse, I would like to throw this question to you. How can AI tutors, and if possible, how and if they can, how can they be able to provide emotional support alongside academic support? Because that is the human feel to learning. Learning is not just information delivery. Learning is a social endeavor. Education is social. So how, if possible, can AI be designed to provide emotional support and academic assistance if it's possible.
Thank you very much. Something happened to me I think this morning. I was searching for something on ChatGPT, and I put a question there. And when it finished answering the question, it said, okay, I said thank you, and it said, anytime you can ask me any question. Good luck with your presentation today at the conference. And I was like, seriously? How did you know I was going for a conference today? So actually, emotional support can come through AI. They can be designed to offer empathy and understanding. They can be made to recognize and respond to students' emotional states. They can offer words of encouragement, empathy, understanding. They can also provide personalized support by analyzing student data. We've been talking about that a lot. They can tailor emotional support to individual students' need. They can offer personalized coping strategies or motivational messages. They can also support students through actively listening to students' concerns and providing a safe place for non-judgmental expressions. This is something that would be a little bit hard for human teachers to do because, we only have 24 hours in a day. We spend maybe a third of that at work, and you have so much to do that the time is not even enough. So sitting with every student and listening to their tales of woe is not really on your KPI list. So and then AI tutors can also be designed to incorporate relaxation exercises like mindfulness techniques in the course of tutoring students to help them manage stress. They can be designed to offer positive reinforcement, which is also very important in building confidence and self-esteem. They can be designed to offer a sense of community by promoting social connection, connecting students to other peers that are facing maybe similar challenges. And then they can also be trained to identify red flags or potential signs of emotional distress. And then they can refer students to appropriate support resources before it is too late. Okay. So these are all ways that we can leverage AI to support students emotionally.
Dr. Sasha, the last time I was at your office, you demonstrated the AI being able to see a student conducting or writing an exam practically to me. And I wanted to ask, can that same technology be used to get an AI to be able to read the room, so to speak, and read the emotional cues of a student and then be able to leverage those information to provide emotional support? Do you think that's a field that it's worth exploring?
Yeah, this is not a question. We have a technology. In fact, we already implement this technology. Currently, we are using it just for the final exam invigilation, not for the whole time, because students want to have their privacy while they are using the online platform for the learning. But definitely, this is not question. Technologies are here, and this is something that is available today. And of course, every model can be fine-tuned to trigger to specific multimedia inputs. But now I want to ask you something else. I don't know, are you aware with the huge amount of the research in the world and also in the Rufus University related to the silent reading and decoding of EEG brain signals?
No, I'm not aware.
Currently, there is a lot of research, and Rufus University, I'm leading research where we are currently able to detect and translate your thoughts with the 74% accuracy. So if you think about a sentence, what are you thinking about? AI will recognize this sentence currently with accuracy. What are you reading about? So still there is improvement in this. But all this research, this is not only my research. There is a huge amount of researchers in the world who are doing the research trying to decode the silent reading. Why? Through the EEG brain signals readers. That's Apple patented earphone that you can put in your ears and it can read your EEG signals. We are making possible to synchronize the human brain with the AI. So each of our thoughts will be automatically sent to the AI and get answered. Everything that we see, AI will see.
All right. Thank you so
There is
much.
a Japanese scientist who already get it. So everything what we feel, AI will be here as a big brother to give us support. And this is not the future. This is not the future. This is the present. We performed the experiment where AI will read the student mind when they are thinking what is the right answer for multiple choice questions. So in that case, we have 94% of accuracy. That student, when he's thinking about E, it's a correct answer, AI will decode his thoughts and show that this is the correct answer. So in the future, I don't think so we will at all need to have who will need education at all if all knowledge will be available with one thought from you. Everyone who can buy the earphone, which is now under the $100, you can have all knowledge just thinking about the questions. And this is not the future. This is the current research, current result, and what are the current advances of technology. Who will need a university? Who will go to university if you have all answers for all your questions? University education will need to change.
All right, thank you.
Needs to change, needs to provide critical thinking, social skills, and different hands-on, even the hands-on subjects can be supervised by AI. So I don't see too much how we will, as teachers, as educators, what we need to, in fact, estimate what will be our role in the future of education together with the AI.
Okay, let me move to Mr. Thaddaeus. What do you think are the potential drawbacks for AI tutoring system and drawbacks and limitation for AI tutoring system?
Primarily, if you combine what Professor Bosede had said, it is actually ability to communicate very difficult emotions. You know, everything is about energy. We send energy, and energy comes from word, or what you read, what you see. What you see can begin to shape how you begin to react. So if we have tutoring systems that have been able to personalize the teaching approach for me to learn effectively, that I become an A-star student, but I have issues at home. I have issues with my girlfriend. I have issues everywhere. That particular instance is giving me some drawback, I'm not able to cope very well. So the system is able to after having finished my work, the system is actually able to put in some word of energy that can encourage me, that can make me do better at the very least level. But there are serious emotional issues that today AI may not be able to handle. But at the level of personal energy, you may be able to handle that, which speaks to the soft skill of still having the teachers to do this other part, which is why we said the complementary approach of the teachers and AI is what can help us to completely or near completely eradicate drawbacks, because the AI, until we continue to train it, it does not have full understanding of all the emotional imbalances that will come up tomorrow. We, like Professor Sasa said, we must be able to leave at this particular level to train this AI, we have to keep adding it, we have to keep updating it. So day zero, he only knows what he knows today. He doesn't know what is going to come tomorrow. So the place of teacher, balancing what Edwin has said and what Professor Bosede has said, is that the teachers have the strength, they concentrate on the soft skill, while the AI concentrate on the teaching ability and little emotional energy to pass for effective. These are the ways that we can begin in our implementation, begin to eradicate or reduce the drawbacks of AI.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have two topics to cover more, but this next topic talks about distant learning. I want us to keep our contributions quite short, so that we can spend more time on the very growing concern in higher institutions as it relates to AI assessment, research, and all of that. But I want to first focus on distance learning in very short responses from all four of you, starting with Mr. Edwin. How do we see, how can AI improve engagement and interactivity in online learning? We know that it will take very self-determined students to go through self-paced learning, because of the fact that it's self-paced. You can do it at your leisure. And then, so how can AI improve this, and what role can AI ensure? How can AI also help in bridging the digital divide in distant learning? We just put those two questions together. Let's start with Mr. Edwin.
Yeah. Okay. There's there's no hard and fixed rule, and there's no real correct answer to that. Simply because earlier I did point out that AI or the technology actually widens the inequity, right? It widens the gap between the haves and the have-nots, right? Because obviously, if you're affluent and you're able to afford the latest tools and the best education, the best infrastructure, right, and that's where you have access to that technology. So that's one point of view, one argument. The other argument, of course, is that the technology or AI is a great enabler and a great leveler as well, whereby by digitalizing a lot of the content, we can actually disseminate this information content to as many people as possible, and bringing world-class education to marginalized community as well. I think that's something that Prof. Sasa and Raffles University is doing as well with their AI robot teacher and even a AI degree, right? For example, yeah. Of course, previously there was there could be a claim, or there's a point of view whereby many of the marginalized communities do not even have access to proper infrastructure, network, and internet. All right, but that.
Oh, I think. Hello. Oh, I think Edwin, your internet has an issue.
Is also being solved. My apologies, I butchered. Okay, so the connectivity is coming in, and more people are getting access to this technology and education as well. So that helps to narrow the gap between the haves and the have-nots, right? Sorry, I just touch a last point is this. I think we're also seeing the way education is being delivered, and we have a lot of progress now. Like, for example, Raffles University's AI robot providing a whole degree program through a AI robot, without even a teacher. And it's another program called 42, not necessarily using AI, but it's a structured curriculum program whereby it's delivered without teachers. That means that the entire program is actually a programming school. 42 is a programming school that is free, and that means there's no tuition fees and there's no teachers, and is a structured program that students actually work on. All right, and I think these technologies coming in will enable more of this type of different modalities of the way that education is being delivered. And of course, then the the human resource managers and the companies, right, will then have to relook at how they are hiring these individuals. Data is coming out now, like for example, 42 and some of these programs that have no teachers and no exams. They actually find that the graduates from this program actually get higher median salary than those that goes through conventional degree programs, right? Perhaps because they are working on more application-based tasks. They are training more on creativity and problem solving. So it goes back to what Zach has I mentioned earlier. If most of the menial tasks are automated away, what are our young graduates going to do in the future? And I think that's where they can come into it's a human ingenuity at work, right? They can work on all the creative endeavors as opposed to the menial tasks which can be done by the AI.
Okay,
Thanks.
Dr. Sasa, briefly, if I may ask, with AI-driven degree programs, do you see that also alleviating the cost of going to school? Do you think that would also reduce cost of schooling? And that's one of the essence of distant learning, that you don't have to be there physically. And if AI is being used to deliver these courses, does that help with the cost of onboarding into such program? We've seen that in online learning platform before the advent of AI. And we've seen that has dropped the cost of taking on courses. I can be in Nigeria and take on a course in Harvard at a very reduced cost. I don't have to be there physically. So do you see AI further dropping this cost in that area?
Yes, of course. In fact, it was my vision when I was building my AI teaching assistant platform to democratize the education, to enable anyone from any village who's having a laptop or computer and internet connection to get a bachelor degree, to get a high education, and don't need to pay the high cost going to the big city, to the university, paying the rental or paying the dorms in this university, paying the food and everything. So they can, all the young people, they can stay in their village, work, have their family, and in the same way they can afford to pay their bachelor degree, because with the AI delivered bachelor degree, we will not we can we will reduce the price of the education.
All right.
It will be, I think, currently plan it's for the Indonesia, India, Nepal, that Bachelor of Data Science degree. This is the 3 years program. Will cost something under the $500.
Wow.
So this is the price that can, because everything will be delivered by the AI. This is the price that first will make very worried different universities who is delivering this program. And I think that market will have his last words about it, and market will make a decision about the quality and usability of this platform. But at least we will give the chance to people to learn, to get the proper knowledge, and to get the knowledge whenever they are.
All right. Let me throw this to you, Dr. Bosede, and then Thaddaeus, you can chime in on that. Looking at what Edwin and Dr. Sasha said about AI and cost delivery, in our climb with how traditional we take education, do you think you see the disparity between graduates of university and polytechnic? We are all we've all seen that. Do you think that will also play out when I go to a physical university and you graduated from an AI-driven university? Do you think the market will will be more there'll be an acceptance in such certificates? So very briefly, let me start with Dr. Bosede, and then we move over to Thaddaeus to respond to that question.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that right now, the system is not ready for that. So if you probably go to an AI-driven university, maybe some employers who are probably my father's age will be wondering if you have just wasted your time because they have no idea what that is about. So I would say the system generally is not very ready for that. But on the other side of things, we also see that now we live in a global village where even though you are living in Malaysia, you don't have to be working in Malaysia. You can work anywhere in the world. Uh, my daughter is based at home. She works in the UK, living in Nigeria. And when you have that kind of opportunity, nobody cares in those places where these changes have already started happening. Nobody cares where your degree comes from. Can you do the job? So if you can do the job, of course, they give you the job to do. So I believe maybe we will get there with time. Right now, we are not ready for it. It might be a bit dangerous, but if you are someone who is proactive in, thinking out of the box and trying to, extend to places beyond home or your local environment to seek opportunities, definitely you can take advantage of that.
All right, Mr. Thaddeus, let me put another perspective to that before you respond, and you can put that together too. Do you think our local universities will be open to offer such programs if the platforms are available and the students are willing? Then you can tie that to the previous question and then just respond.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me answer the recent question. The local universities also play catch up, and you know that the politics, all sort of things going on, they all play catch up. There's no stable technology in any of the local university. They all started with admission, automating admission. After 2 years, when you change the registrar, another person comes in, they change the technology, they keep changing. So they're not ready. Very few universities are ready for that. For example, the Wigwe University, things like that, you may be able to say that they will adopt that kind of approach. But that said, Nigeria and the African community is highly a consuming nation, is a consuming economy. Is a consuming economy. So whatever happens in the developed nation can have great influence back at home. So in terms of adopting AI, fully AI university, if it happens in Malaysia, in England, in America, then I will tell you how it will work in Africa, in Nigeria. Today in Nigeria, and Professor will agree with this, those making decision, the generation making decision are beginning to be the generation that are IT inclined. The generations of people who are beginning to enter into power and money they have been into IT for almost 20 years. My generation, your generation. So we can be inclined to adopt. You can see a tech company in Nigeria that have partnership with Professor Sasa's university, for example, to adopt to have a franchise of the university AI can be brought into Nigeria. And I tell you, Nigerians, you have a lot, millions of people who will use it and they will get their certificate. But we will wait for a period of time to test the quality of the graduate from the AI university and the
Traditional university.
yeah. So
All
I
right.
could say more on this, but thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Can I just give the answer to this just very short? Yes, we already test the quality properly, how it's normal in our scientific and educational world. So, of course, we are doing complete classes for Jakarta here from Malaysia of AI. We was having a control group and testing group, and we was testing the quality of the quality of the knowledge delivered by the AI and by the face-to-face, and compare this result of our work are published in the international conference for the new education technology in the Europe, in the Porto, in the Portugal. So yes, we perform complete scientific research and prove our approach. After that, we was sure to go to the next step to offer AI delivered diplomas. Without this step, we will never do it. We follow the proper steps that are needs to be done in order to deliver diplomas.
All right. The last question is the big elephant in the room, especially in higher education, which is assessment, integrity of work, in terms of research, and schools either. I think we all know which, and the level we should all operate for is that every student is using AI. So how do we assess? How do we check the quality and the integrity of work? Should universities adopt AI references? And how do we redefine assessment? Generally, would you as a lecturer accept a student's work if it is AI driven and it's based on AI? And how would you assess that? So let's start from Dr. Bosede. What's your take on all of these somewhat controversial issues that is still being discussed at the level of education?
Okay, thank you very much. Personally, let me start from there. I encourage my students to use AI. When I'm with them, I use it. I show them how to do prompt engineering. So personally, maybe because I am an instructional technologist, so that's like normal for me. And I know many of my colleagues are also using it. And actually, our university encourages students to use it. The problem I have with students is when they use it, they don't want to use their head at all. They just want to copy and paste. And like I think somebody mentioned something like that yesterday. Everything, including the spaces where you're supposed to fill in the gap, you copy and then you paste and then you bring to me. And that becomes very annoying because it shows that you suspended your head and then you just depended on AI. So I believe we can allow students to use AI. I was thinking this afternoon that if there was social media the way we have it now, in the days when we were switching from four-figure table to calculator, we would have had this kind of conversations. But then we didn't have social media then. So I believe that we can't stop students from using AI. We can't stop them from using maybe text generated to answer questions. Maybe for now, we are preventing them from using it in exams. But I'm not sure how long that is going to last. I think the problem we have is that we are not ready to change how we are assessing to match what is going on. We want to continue. I mean, we're starting exams in about a week or two. Some other universities started about a few weeks ago, and some are starting with us. When I looked at the questions, the exam questions, they are the same as the ones we had 5 years, 10 years, 15 and 20 years ago, which doesn't make any sense. With what is going on now, we don't want to change how we are assessing students. So I do ask my colleagues all the time, why do you need to recall questions from students when you know that the answer is online? The question is there, the answer is there. So how does it make sense that we are, wasting papers, wasting time, you waste student time, you waste your own time, you waste institution resources to do all of this. So we need to start from changing what is assessed, how we assess. We need to change credentialing. Without all of those, if we are still doing first class and second class and third class, we're not going anywhere yet with assessment.
All right.
So we need to start from that foundational part.
Okay, so I think, let me put this out there also. I think, like you said, we need to redefine assessment. And I think one of the things we need to do is, which we did when calculator came in. When calculator came in, teachers no longer assess results, they assess steps. So and I think we must also change our dimensions, our assessment models and procedures from assessing product We must change it to assessing process, the learning process. How did you go about your learning? And I want Thaddaeus to speak to that before I move over to Dr. Sasha. So what do you think in terms of redefine, or what are the ways we can redefine our method of assessment, and rather than focusing on product, we focus on the process? So Thaddaeus.
Thank you very much. Doctor said it all. It's the leadership, and we must be bold enough to say that the present method of assessment that we do is no longer sustainable, and is no longer, it does not have the capability to produce the desired quality of practitioners that we want to move our nations forward. I'm going to stay in Africa and Nigeria particularly for this point. You see, the Nigerian system is assessment based. When I was in school, there were several times that I was not in the class, but I know that because I have the ability, 2 days before the exam, I will go into the library, I will read everything that I need to read, and I will pass the exam. And that is, I may never remember what the whole lecture was. So the assessment that encourages theoretical successes than practical successes must be dealt with. Now, when we bring that to AI, we must also leverage this, that whatever we are going to be assessing the student on is not going to, because AI now is lettered. You bring lettered question and the guy generates answers, but he really does not know. How do we really understand? How do we gauge? Our assessment must now be result-based and not answer-based alone, and not question and answer-based. We must move. Assessment in Nigeria must be backed by results and not theory. So the theory-based assessment must not be, and in Nigeria, we now did what we call alternative to practical, which wasn't practical. These are the things that is killing the standard of knowledge. And I will tell you what this has caused for us in Africa. Productivity, in terms of production, the knowledge in the Nigeria and the African community, we lack the productive knowledge in terms of creative knowledge. So now I can code, but I don't have the capability to write the compiler, the low-level code. I cannot write the operating system, but I can use Java, I can use C++. Do you understand what I'm saying? The assessment has trained me to code in Java, but I don't know how to write the low-level language. I should be able to write the programming language. Now, I have the theory of how the engine in an automobile works. I cannot create an automobile engine. You see, we must move the African community. I said to some people in another quarter that the knowledge that was passed to us from Britain is the theoretical knowledge. So our assessment and our dealing in Africa, and from this platform, and I'm speaking to the world, we must begin to have productivity assessment, not theoretical assessment. That's where I rest.
Edwin, do you have anything to say before I move over to Dr. Sasha? And then we'll just round up with our closing thoughts. Edwin, on assessment, integrity of work, what do you think should be the direction? Very briefly.
Yeah, thanks. I fully agree with the other panelists that AI should be embraced and adopted. I think the former Prime Minister of Singapore, a gentleman called Lee Kuan Yew, said that of the early stages of the internet, not AI, but in the 80s and the 90s, at the early stage of the internet, he labeled it as a necessary evil, in the sense that this technology is of course necessary for economic growth and productivity drive, but at the same time, it brings along a lot of what do you call it, other activities that need to be monitored and to be controlled, right? So that's why he called it a necessary evil. Now, coming back to the assessments, that's for students. While we embrace it because it drives productivity, there has to be a structural shift in the way that we deliver and we rethink education. I think the other panelists have already mentioned it already. But maybe I can just give a example analogy in the sense that we are perhaps going back to the original, what do you call it? Industry or craftsmanship of medieval times, right? So in the past, if you want to learn how to work with metal, you apprentice with a blacksmith, and if you want to learn how to work with wood, you apprentice with a carpenter, right? And it's you learn by apprenticeship. And then, of course, fast forward in the age of industrialization, where we're building factories and factories and factories. That's where we develop education systems that are producing cookie cutter graduates, cookie cutter students, right? The students are going through formulaic education, and all of them coming out in a formulaic way. Then that's preparing for the workforce of the what do you call it, the industrialization age. And now with the technology today, we see, like, for example, schools like 42 or schools like Raffles University, where they are moving away from assessment-based education and going back to learning by doing, what we call apprenticeship, right, or craftsmanship. And I think that really fits well with what we are saying today, where if AI is going to replace the tedious work and the manual work, and that's where our young students and the next generation will then need to learn how to create things, not just like what they just say, memorize and regurgitate. All right, you have to learn how to be creative and learn how to make things, right, as opposed to answering examination questions or assessments.
All right.
Thanks.
Any final thoughts on that, Dr. Sasha, before we wrap it up?
Okay, we in the Raffles University, regarding the assessments, what we are thinking, there is two types of assessments. If our students are taking online courses, of course, assessment will be done by the AI, and it will be done by the AI proctoring system that we have incorporated in our platform. So this is not too many problems. Student cannot open any tab, cannot open the new browser. AI can see the students, can see anomaly and recognize anomalies in student behavior. AI can hear if student asks someone else for an answer. So AI proctoring is something that it's perfectly good for the online platform, because student cannot do anything, cannot open another browser, cannot open another tab, cannot look to another computer because his behavior will be detected as anomaly by the AI. And AI proctoring we already implemented in our teaching and learning platform. Second direction is assessments are our standard final exams face-to-face, but in these final exams, we also developed for the teachers and for the professors at Raffles University two tools. First tool, it's a final exam creation tool, which will take in account first domains of the student knowledge that we want to focus on. So is it a cognitive, or is it a psychological, or is it an affective domain of the student knowledge? Then it will take account course learning objective, program objectives, and of course course outline. According all those parameters, AI creation tool will create the final exam. As a peer with the AI creation tool for final exams and for the essays, we have a AI supported assessment, and we do the research, check the consistency of AI assessments through the few repetition, check the cross consistency comparing with the human evaluators, and we are getting perfect results, and we implemented already AI assessment tool, of course, which needs to include assessment rubrics and needs to include criteria for the assessing. We included in our platform, and from September, since now it's already end of the semester, and from September, all professors at Raffles University will use these two tools for the face-to-face teaching, for the final exam creation, and for the automatic AI assessment. But for the online teaching in our platform, we will use the AI proctoring system that is incorporated with our platform.
All right. Thank you so much for this session. I think we have just rounded up here so that we can move into the next session. We're already getting into it, but I really want to appreciate every one of you. Edwin, thank you. I know of your engagement today, but thank you for finding the time to join. Mr. Thaddaeus, thank you so much. On behalf of the community, I want to say thank you for taking our time to be here. Dr. Bosede, thank you
very
so
much,
much for your input and your impact. Professor Sasha, thank you also for being part of this. I know how busy you've been. I must appreciate every one of us for the insightful sessions we've had. I saw some questions. We would get answers to those questions and respond to them in some of our other sessions, or put the responses in the chat group, because we need to move to somewhere else. On behalf of everyone, I want to say thank you to both of them, to everybody on this panel. So if you are watching online, or because we have also a huge following on our YouTube now, please just do thumbs up and react and respond to our panelists. Thank you so much. And we'll move into the next session now, which is, I think Dr. Bosede, Thaddaeus, and Edwin, if you want to take